Happy Friday, everyone. I got some college football in today's video. First, let's recap the previous video's picks. This is what I went for, a little stack on Breece Hall and Aaron Rodgers. Ended up splitting. Breece Hall was basically that main target for Aaron Rodgers. Only 21 attempts, and he still ended up getting 6 here. And Brian Reynolds and O'Neal Cruz, I was going for a bit of a stack there, but Cruz ended up hitting a homer, of course, clearing that over. And then I had another stack here on a triple stack with Brock Purdy, Debo, and Jake Moody. This one also split here. It was pretty close to going all over. Unfortunately, we're on the under direction, so that did not go well for us. And then the tennis pick actually did miss, ended up going over that 4.5 break points. So it's definitely not a good showing in the last video. And to recap the Discord so far, on Prizepicks, we're up about 0.3 units, nothing crazy there. And on Underdog, we are up 8 units so far. So up 8.3 units in the past 4 days. And I'm excited for the weekend because, as you guys probably know, last weekend I had a crazy week. Up 49 units on Prizepicks and up 48 units on Underdog. And that was just Friday to Sunday. A lot of you guys did lock in with some promo codes that I was running last week. No more promo codes for now. But if you do want to lock in with us for football this weekend, first link in the description. So as for the picks, I'm going to be building two 8.5x's, and they're going to be 8.5x's because they're going to be heavily correlated. And the first prop I'm going with, it's actually a pass attempts prop. We're going with Jaylen Daniels on his under 28.5 pass attempts. Now this prop is interesting because it's been at 28.5 pretty much all day, but only Prizepicks and Underdog actually have this line set at 28.5. On other sportsbooks, I see on Hard Rock is at 27.5. On ESPN Bet 27.5, and on Bet365 he's set at 27.5. So on Prizepicks we're getting one extra pass attempt compared to most of the market that's pricing this Jaylen Daniels line. So the juice definitely tells you to take the under on the play, and what makes it even better is last time he did get 32 pass attempts, but that was versus Illinois, where it's a bit of a tighter game and a game that they were trailing. So that's going to force Jaylen Daniels to actually be throwing the ball more. Tonight, they are up against UNLV, and they are the favorite here, -9 spread towards Kansas, so we could expect a little less pass attempts in tonight's game. Now, since we're grabbing his under pass attempts, that also means he's going to be completing less passes, which means his receivers are going to be getting less receiving yards. Normally, I'd like to go with receptions and pair up the pass attempts with receptions or even the targets, but in college football, there's no targets prop, and for receptions, there's no one on Kansas that we could pair him up with. So we're going to have to go all the way to the receiving yards, and my favorite pick here is Lawrence Arnold on his under 44.5 receiving yards. Normally, I like to go with the wide receiver one, like Luke Grimm here, but there is very good value on Arnold because of how high his line is set at. He's 44.5 on Prizepicks. I see him at 41.5 on FanDuel, 40.5 on Caesars, 40.5 on Hard Rock Bet, 43.5 on Bet Online. Basically, all across the market, this line is the highest. So we want to be on the under on Prizepicks specifically. As I explained, if Jaylen Daniels is going under pass attempts, especially if he's going way under, like only 25-ish pass attempts, well, it's less likely that Lawrence Arnold is going to be getting his receiving yards, if that's going to mean less completions for Kansas as a whole. Now, for a similar concept, we're going to be going with the pass attempts once again. We're going to grab Fafita here on his under 34.5 pass attempts. Now, he did go under in the first 2 games, but tonight, Arizona is actually not the favorite. They did win these first 2 games, so he's going to end up passing less. You could see 26 pass attempts in this game on September 7th and 31 on the one before that. So you kind of see how his pass attempts is reflected higher here at 34.5, even though he went under by a few pass attempts in the previous 2 games. Well, that's because they're going to be trailing this game, so he's going to have to get more pass attempts up there. That being said, I think they boosted this up a bit too high because, once again, this is higher than the rest of the industry. I do see him at 33.5 on a couple other sports books. FanDuel's the only one that also has him at 34.5, but I do like the juice towards the under. And this time, we could actually pair this up with a receptions prop. That's going to be McMillan here on his under 6.5 receptions. Of course, that's Fafita's main target. So for grabbing his under pass attempts, we also want to be grabbing the under on his main target on his under receptions. And you can see the correlation in the past 2 games. Remember that Noah got 31 and 26. But if we go over the receptions, you can see McMillan only got 2 receptions in a game, whereas QB got 26. And this game is a bit of an outlier, right? You got 10 receptions out of the 31 that Noah ended up throwing, which is a big outlier game. I mean, that's literally over 30% of those pass attempts went to a reception for McMillan, when normally you'd expect around 18 to 20%. So big outlier game there. I am feeling confident in the under here, especially because McMillan also has juice towards the under. On FanDuel, he's at -140, Hard Rock -140, even on Fliff, he's at -145. So both of these props are juice towards the under. Very nice correlation between them. That is going to be the first slip. And it's going to pay 8.5x because of how correlated these guys are. But since we're getting some very good lines on this, it's still a profitable slip. So we're going to submit this as the first one. And now we can start off the second one. We're going to be going over the passing prop and grab Avery Johnson on his under 194.5 passing yards. Like I mentioned, they are up against Arizona. They are the favorite in this game. And if that game script does happen where they are up and they don't want to be passing as much, it means they're going to be rushing more, which means the under on the passing yards is more likely to hit. Now, the thing with Avery Johnson is I don't love his line at 194.5. He is 197.5 on Underdog, where it is a bit of a better line. And some other sports books, he's near 195. I see him at 196 and 197. So on Prizepicks, we're not getting that great of a line. But I have noticed lately that these passing yards props are very inflated. And we have the fact that Kansas State should be in the lead, which is going to help him stay under, assuming they end up rushing more and running the clock. And if you were betting last week on either college football or the NFL, you saw how many unders actually hit for the passing yards. If you were ripping a bunch of overs, you probably got absolutely demolished last week because so many unders hit. So along with the things I just mentioned, we're also going to go with that trend again. And we're going to be pairing up the passing yard prop with his main receiver here. That's going to be Brown on his under 52.5 receiving yards. Absolutely love this. This prop right here is 1/4 of this prop right here. So Brown's typically going to get 25% or more of Avery Johnson's passing yards. So I'm absolutely loving this stack together here. It's such a big proportion of the passing yards. So if Avery Johnson does end up going under, it's very, very likely Brown is also going to be going under. And on top of that, Brown is set a little too high. I see him at 49.5 on FanDuel, 47.5 on BetMGM, 52.5 on Caesars, so kind of matching this line here. And then on some other sportsbooks, I also see him at 49.5. So definitely some good value on the wide receiver at the very least. Now to pair this up, I'm going to be going with an even better stack. That's going to be Ricky White on his under 74.5 receiving yards, and pairing that up with his QB on the under 174.5 passing yards. I just said how much I like the Kansas State stack because this is like 1/4 of the QB's passing yards. This is even better because this is almost half of his passing yards here. Ricky White is definitely that main target on the UNLV team. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a 90% chance that if his QB does go under, he will also go under this prop. As for if this line is set too high or low, well, I see it set about fair. FanDuel has him at 74.5, BetMGM at 74.5, multiple other sportsbooks at 74.5, but I do see him at 78.5 on Hard Rock and at 78.5 on Caesars. So we are missing a bit of value there compared to those sports books. But like I just explained, the unders have been an absolute gold mine, so we're going to keep rocking with it. And same thing with Matthew here. I do see him at 175 on multiple other sports books, so we are losing maybe a line of value. But again, the unders are just so much more strong than the overs. So we'll lock this one in as the second slip for 8.5x. Good luck tonight, boys.